Devil's advocates whisper in the hall, where justice wears a mask and truth begins to fall. Every thread they pull, every lie they weave, in the courtroom's dance, who's left to believe? Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight. A photograph fades where the truth once stood. Blurred lines between the bad and the good. The scales they tilt with every silver tongue, while the broken cry for a song unsung. Black robes sway like shadows on the wall. One wrong word and the mighty fall. Who's a sinner? Who's a saint? The jury's out, but the verdict's faint. Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight.
All righty. Hey, did my sound cut out? Can I get a wave? Okay, I'm good. Okay, man, I'm telling you what, man. I don't know what it is with StreamYard. It seems like our broadcasting stuff, but it seems to mess with people's sound. It's absolutely freaking annoying. Anyways, welcome to A Crimes After Dark on a Thursday, I think Thursday night at our normal time. We aren't going to have our full panel tonight. We're missing JJ State of the Deep. That was pre-planned. We're also missing our favorite Vampire 1-1 because, as we've told you before, he's getting a big promotion tomorrow, and there's going to be a ceremony, and he's doing uniform fitting and all kinds of stuff this evening, and so he needs to step away to get prepared for his big ceremony for his promotion. So congratulations to our favorite NYPD officer, now promoted to captain, and it's pretty exciting for him and also indirectly exciting for us, or I don't know if it's indirectly. Anyways, we're excited for him, and I'm sure he's way more excited because it's life-changing stuff for him. It's just cool for us. Anyways, welcome to another Crimes After Dark. We'll get our panel up here. How sad will it be? There won't be a 1-1 monologue. We won't be saying goodnight to the little man and his family and his wife and his daughter, who's too young to know that he's saying goodnight, so we just don't really mention that too much just because, it is what it is. But we'll do our best to just kick this off and get going. And by the way, we're going to have a little shorter show tonight. I'm leaving town to go to London, Kentucky for the upcoming trial, Sabrina Atkins versus Ben Fields in the Letcher County case. We're talking about Mickey Steins, who shot the judge, Kevin Mullins, and the case that's related to it. All that shit's going on, and it's fly by the seat of your pants time, and I've got flights to catch and whatever, and so we're getting some last minute stuff done here. So I also have to kind of cut it a little short tonight. So let's get everybody up here and talk about some big things in a short amount of time. All right, get Dago up first. Dago, how you doing?
Whoa.
Good. Wow, that's. I'm glad your sound is better now. You did some weird shit with your sound modulation a little bit earlier, but you're sounding okay, I think, now.
Forget about it.
Nope.
It's the fugazi.
What's in your world today?
I went over the Dylan Mortensen text messages, so on and so forth, which I'm sure we're going to discuss a little bit tonight.
Yeah,
it was
for sure.
Quite an interesting show, yes. And there was there's just a lot to it, guys. There's a lot more to that little bit of document we got, in my opinion, than what we're all seeing. There's a whole lot more to it, as will be talked about and proven, in my opinion. So I'm excited about that conversation. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you're ahead of me in the sense that you talked about it. I just saw, I was doing some updates and saw Pavarotti's video on it. And I know we talked about it last night, right? We showed the document, but some new kind of bombshell discussion points came out, which we'll get into, like you said, here in a minute. So anything else you want to talk about before we bring up the rest of the panel?
No, that's about it, sir.
All right. Well, let's get Logan up from Bronx Tales True Crime. How you doing?
I'm just so sad that one's not going to have a monologue tonight.
I know. Well, if you'd like to try
pyrotechnics. That was my Erica Kirk. I need pyrotechnics.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah. Well, you're not pulling off the grieving widow thing as well.
Dang it.
I gotta say, yeah.
Dang it.
Wow.
How are things in your world today? What did you do?
Wonderful. I worked and I'm ready for the weekend because this whole work thing is like getting in my way.
Right?
You know?
I get it.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Isn't that the point? Everybody's working for the weekend.
Yeah.
Is that a little Loverboy reference? Did you?
Yes, it was. It was.
Loverboy reference. Everybody's working for.
I knew you'd get it. I knew she wouldn't.
Right? That's amazing. It's okay.
I know what that is.
You know Loverboy?
I mean, I don't know who sings it, but I've heard it.
Okay.
It's all good. No, I mean, yeah. See, that's the great thing about the music from our generation. Everybody's heard the music, whether they are into it or not. Everybody's heard the music.
They don't know who sings any of it, but they know the songs because they're that good. They're that good.
Wasn't that the album with the guy with the tight pants? And there was a big whole argument about whether it was a lady's ass or it was his ass or whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I remember that whole thing.
Yep. All right. Well, anyways.
Ladies.
Good to see you. And let's get Robin up on stage. She's feeling well enough, it sounds like, to make an appearance tonight. How are you doing, Robin?
Yay.
Hello there. How are you all of you?
Good evening.
Your voice sounds better. You don't sound like you're sick and under the weather like you were last night.
Oh, well, it's like all in the freaking schnoz now, but
Nice.
but at least I'm not hacking up a lung tonight. So there's that.
Yeah.
That is good.
That's a very good improvement. Very
Stay right here.
Yep. Yeah. Just right there.
That's where mine
The
stays.
crime cat is here. That's exciting.
Oh, like
Coda the crime cat.
Coda kitty.
Yep.
Oh, and then the dog
He's
walking
not
in the background. We
excited,
got
but,
animals everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, look, we don't have a monologue tonight. I need to make sure that we're paying, and my wife's not in for the modding to help out with pinning comments. Hopefully we have a couple of mods in here.
I'll pin like a mother effer.
All right. So because there's no monologue and because we're going to have a little shorter show, because again, I'm going out of town and I've got a couple of things I have to do. We're going to also meet with somebody we haven't seen for a long time. So we're taking an opportunity to meet with some friends before I head out of town. Look at the cat doing the stretch behind you. That's very cool. You don't even get to see it unless you're watching your own camera. I guess you could be watching your own camera. But let's talk a little bit about what I saw from Pavarotti today. I'll kind of jump us off because I know that Dago said he talked about it, and I don't remember if Logan said she talked about it, but I'll tell you the gist of what I got from Pavarotti that I wanted to share. And let me put it on screen real quick just to show you a screenshot. We won't play his audio, but I'm going to show it to you. If I can, I'll show it to you. I'll remove. I hate that I have to remove what was previously on here. So let me put this full screen. So this is a document that Pavarotti was showing from Josiah Roloff, who his expertise is basically digital forensics. And you can see he's got President Roloff Digital Forensics LLC. He's a Celebrite expert. And he's talking about, he was brought in March of 2025, as you can see by the signature on this document. And he was going to testify. He was one of the defense witness experts, if you will. But the shocking part to discuss is if you look at the very top of this page that we can see the screenshot, because he didn't show the whole document, DM and BM respectively. Do you see that at the top? It says on that the DM and BM respectively. And it talks about in point 10 about the documents include artifacts including identifiers from peekaboo.com, which is Snapchat. What Pav was saying is this expert was going to put in DM, which was Dylan Mortensen, and BM, Brant Mortensen, her father, and he was going to put them side by side and say, look, I can prove to you, this is what Pav was saying was going to happen, and I think he's right. Josiah was going to put those two date timestamps between Dylan and her father to show that they were texting each other frantically back and forth on Snapchat and deleting messages on Snapchat before sending an open and in the clear message on the phone saying, hey, Dylan, do you have time to talk with me later today about for 5 to 10 minutes later on in the day? And that message was after, and no further Snapchat happened between the two of them after he sent the, hey, do you have time to talk today? Suggesting, as Pav said, the two of them were communicating frantically and colluding on something, and then made up a bullshit public story to say, hey, can you talk later today? And then all text messaging between the two of them stop on Snapchat. So I wanted to talk about that and ask what your thoughts were. Do you agree that's probably what Josiah was going to show? Is that why he was talking about artifacts between DM and BM, her father, the artifacts being just the timestamps? And like Pav was saying, what he was going to show is it'll show that Dylan sent a message to someone, and you don't know who, at a certain time. And then he would put up Brent, her dad's message, and show he received a message from someone you don't know who it is at exactly that time. And then he responds to someone you don't know, and then you'll see Dylan receives it at the same time. And so it would have taken not a rocket scientist to stick that on the stand and show the jury and say, these people are talking to each other. We don't have the messages, but I can guarantee you they're talking to each other. The times match up exactly. So explain what the fuck you were talking about, why you deleted your conversation, and then why you faked a message saying, hey, do you have time to talk later today? When you'd been talking on Snapchat for over an hour. So what do you guys think about that?
What I think is that in this day and age, it's pretty stupid if you don't realize that things are not actually deleted just because you hit delete.
Yeah. I mean, the message itself, right, is deleted and unrecoverable, but the trace that they had the conversation is not.
Right.
I'm wondering now that you've said this, and what we talked about a little bit ago too, with what Kim said to me earlier, blah, blah, blah. All of this is like my wheels are going like crazy. I wonder if, because you guys do realize that you can communicate back and forth with people on Indeed, right?
Sure. Of
It's
course.
not just the site to go. So where would you go if you were trying to hide something from somebody that you didn't think, okay, and she did a lot on Indeed, a lot.
Yeah.
So, and it made me wonder, like, what the hell, who's looking up jobs at 3 o'clock in the morning for that long?
Right.
So I wonder if that's the communication process that was going on through Indeed, possibly. And, now I'm really turning with this. That's wild to me.
Yeah, because those professional sites are just as capable of messaging. I mean, you've got Indeed, you've got LinkedIn, you've got Upworks, because I've used all those for different employment. So yeah, and they have very functional, very good messaging systems. So sure.
Absolutely. That's my,
and if you're trying to hide your communication between somebody, you might use a third-party app, or a WhatsApp or a Snapchat or a LinkedIn or any kind of a lot of them have messaging services. So it's very,
and I fully believe and I've said this today and I've said this before, I fully believe that Dylan, first and foremost, was following a script of sorts, was doing things as she was told to. And I think that whole, this is my own personal opinion, folks, but the whole, it's only going to take 10 to 15 minutes was telling her to call 911 in 10 to 15 minutes. That's my feelings on that. Because that's when Kim said that, something just locked in for me. And that whole thing makes sense to me now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bianca, for one gifted. One more turn.
Yeah. Thank you. We pinned that on. We should have pinned that, but there's another one that we don't talk about much. There's another we don't talk about much, and that is Yik Yak.
Right.
So Yik Yak, from what I understand, and I'm an old fart, so I don't use Yik Yak and whatever, but from what I understand, it's more of a local thing. Like it's for connecting people in a very small geographic. I mean, I'm like a half
campus
mile or
thing.
something.
I think
Like a campus.
It's like
right?
next door.
Yeah, it's kind of like, hey,
Same
look, we're
thing.
having a party over here, and you just kind of communicate with the locals in your area about what's going on in your area. So Yik Yak also is a very interesting. Who are you texting that's within physical close proximity to you during this critical window? That's important to me as well. We don't talk a lot about that Yik Yak one.
Yeah, and I think if there was somebody that was able to, well, I know there is, to break down and get the messages from all of those apps that were being used that night, it might tell its own story, you guys.
Yeah, and I can tell you already, simple AI can do some amazing things. Yes. I took 4 screenshots of ingoing, outgoing phone calls from various phones and put it into to AI and said, analyze this and tell me what's happening. And it built a whole narrative. Well, so-and-so called so-and-so, and then so-and-so texted back, and then and they can take what's hard for us to look at with our human eyes and then interlace it and build a table and say, this one happened first, this happened next, whatever. This other phone got this. And so I want to do that with all of these. I want to take that big document and run that through and say, tell me what analyze this and tell me what most likely is happening. And I bet you it'd be very, very interesting.
Very good idea. Good point, sir.
So let's run through some questions. This is what bothers me the most. So, and I don't want to victim shame. I hate victim shaming. I don't want to victim shame, but there is no way in hell people with open mind believe that Dylan Mortensen's story rings true. So the question becomes, what scenarios make sense for why Dylan is taking pictures and videos and texting with people and then deleting the messages and hiding it, waiting 8-9 hours to make the phone call on 911. What does that mean about Dylan's behavior? And the 2 ones that jump off the thing, again, going back to an interview that she did with police, I think the killer may not have touched me because he may have known me. So that was one of their comments.
She told on herself.
Yeah. He may have known who I was and he left me alone. So the question becomes, did Dylan know for certain what was happening that night and covered it up? Or did she know the killer and she doesn't want to rat on the killer, so she's just keeping her mouth shut about it? Or, like, what scenarios to you? Because to me, Dylan hiding what happened means that she's afraid that she's going to somehow get implicated somehow. That's what it means to me. Why else would you lie about it? If people got murdered in your house and you know they got murdered, why not just say they got murdered in my house and I had nothing to do with it? The fact that you're trying to hide what happened indicates you're somehow afraid that if the story comes out, you're in trouble. So what scenarios would make Dylan in trouble? Go ahead.
She knew it. She knew. I'm going to answer both to your question, Lee. Both. Because I truly, honestly, at this point, and I have for a while, but this stuff kind of almost iced the cake for me, for lack of better terms. But I think she knew it all. I think she knew exactly what happened. She heard it all. We know that. And I think she knows who did it too. And very likely is involved in that aspect of it, in my opinion. So that's my appealing.
Before I ask the next question, because I want to ask a more pointed question, I want to know what Logan and Robin think about it as well. Like, that's that part alone. What other scenario could you have on why Dylan's trying to cover up what happened? If she, what makes you think? What logical explanation is there for covering up what happened?
I mean, logical would be that she knows something. She knows enough to feel guilty about it. She knows enough to try and hide things and lie about things and tell a different story or whatever the case is. So the only logical thing I can come to is that she's either involved, knows who's involved, let somebody in, purposely left the door unlocked. She has some sort of culpability in this.
Yeah,
that to me is the only option.
What do you think, Robin? I got another point I want to make. What do you think, Robin?
Yeah, exactly. I have said for a long time, I think she, and again, allegedly, but I have felt for a long time that she was involved some way, shape, or form. And I think Quinn was involved because why else would someone be protecting you? But who better to protect you than your boyfriend, who is
and or now we have
involved
to
in that
ask, and
kind of
or her
crime?
dad.
Your dad too.
Right?
Yeah.
What about her dad?
Yeah. But I'm saying that particular night, she said she felt like the person that was perpetrating the crimes was protecting her.
May have known her and was protecting her. Yeah, didn't.
But
Yeah.
her dad texted her, and she didn't even say like, "Oh my God, Dad! Like, I need you. Get here."
Right.
Or, "Look, this just happened in my house." Nothing.
Right.
She's pretending like everything's fine and saying, "Yeah, we can have a chit chat at 2."
Oh my gosh, you make a great point. How is it that, oh, I'm so scared, we're calling 911, my friend's unconscious, but her dad's calling and she's like, hey, everything's great, yeah, we can talk later. Like, what happened to the paranoid, terrified shit, the show that gets put on when you call 911? So there's none of that terrified bullshit until the call comes in, and then the show begins, right? Then I'm so scared, I don't know what to do. Like, that begins.
Can I respond to something that was directed at me?
Yeah.
So, as always, Jeff poking the bear. Dago believes that Dylan's an Oscar award-winning actress, and I don't buy that. I think Dylan tried her best to recall the night before. We've had this conversation before. And honest to God, I don't care what you think I believe, Jeff. That's fine, okay? The point is, I'm not the only person, first off, that believes this, okay? If she was trying her best to recall the night before, she didn't have any kind of a fucking problem recalling it when she was talking to Nunez or Jack Decor or anybody else that she put that show on for the next morning. So what was she trying her best to recall? It all came out like water. It was flowing.
She didn't need to recall anything. She had her phone with timestamps in her hand. Why didn't she just say, well, it wasn't pretty much at 4 a.m. It was 4:17, 4:22. You've got it in your hand.
Right.
Exactly.
And I'll back you.
Yeah. Here's my phone. You can look. Go ahead. Here's my phone.
I'll back you up further. I would back you up further to on Jeff's point. She wasn't an Oscar-nominated actress. It was a fucking horrible performance, in my opinion. It was
horrible.
It wasn't Oscar-nominating worthy. It was a fucking horrible performance. Most people don't buy her performance. So there's no Oscar nomination involved in that. It was a shitty performance. It didn't look good. It didn't look authentic. So it doesn't even look like an Oscar-winning performance, in my opinion.
And that other statement towards Logan about she couldn't be certain of the photo of Brian. She said she never saw him before. So there was no couldn't be certain. She had no idea who Brian was.
She was showing a picture of Brian and didn't recognize him and couldn't identify it.
Exactly. So none of that's true.
And let me tell you another thing that I've said this before, but I don't say it a lot. I find it personally very telling to me, and I know it's not proof of anything. Dylan Mortensen, during the victim impact statements in the courtroom, was the only one who asked Bill Thompson to stand between her and Brian Koberger so she didn't have to look him in the eyes. And I said, I think it's because she's ashamed of what she's doing. She doesn't want to look the guy in the eye when she knows what she's saying is a lie and she's sending someone to jail for something they didn't do, or she knows the truth and she can't look him in the fucking eyes and do it. So she wants somebody to block her and not look him in the eyes as she says, "You ruined my life," but she can't do it and look straight in the eyes, because a lot of people have a hard time putting on that kind of performance, lying straight to someone's face. It's hard for people to look really straight to your face. I think it says something when she didn't want to look Brian Koberger in the eyes when she was giving her statement.
Guilt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dylan tried her best at what? Lying? She did. She did a great job at lying, and it was still a shitty job. So
the other question I was going to ask that's more pointed is, if Dylan knew something that was going on or knew the killer or whatever, what are your feelings of, did she lure Kaylee back to the house? Is that part of her shame? Is that she actually brought Kaylee back for that attack or brought her back to the house? What are you guys' thoughts on that? Did she lure Kaylee back?
Ladies first.
Go ahead, Robin.
I think she did. Now, whether she was put up to it or did it on her own for whatever her personal reasons, we know that her and Kaylee were not BFFs. So, to me, there has always been some jealousy there. And like I said, if there's a reason that somebody wanted Kaylee dead, that if we're going to go the Quinn route, okay, and people want to say that frats can't be involved, I don't believe that. Because to me, it's this whole perfect storm. I keep saying it. It's this whole perfect storm in that area. I believe that she could have been the point person to get Kaylee back there. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Logan?
I think it's highly possible that happened, but I haven't made my mind up on whether that was 1,000. I'm not set on it. Like that was 1,000% a lure. It very, very well could be, but I don't know. I just feel like with that one, I'm not like dead set on it.
I'll say 90%.
Yeah, I'm high up there. I'm just not dead set on it.
It always felt to me like she had lured Kaylee back for that and went through extraordinary efforts to make sure Kaylee was back for it. But that leads to the question if Kaylee herself was the target, or if somebody just wanted her to be one of the targets that got hit at that. It was like, hey, this is going to happen, but can we also make sure Kaylee's there for it because I got a beef to settle with Kaylee too, kind of thing. So I don't know. It leads to a lot of questions. What the biggest question becomes is, like I said, and again, it's not proof positive, but Pav made a pretty good observation, which is that Josiah was going to take phone artifacts from both Dylan and BM. Now, granted, it's redacted, so we don't know if BM is her dad, but it has the right initials. So is there a phone exchange between Dylan and her father and we know that they talked a little bit later because they have that open text message of, hey, can you talk today? So so it makes all logical sense that was what was happening. And again, where it comes to is it leads us to post-conviction relief for Brian Kohberger. If those kind of things were hidden and not allowed to be shown, and an expert witness was going to come for the defense and say, hey, Dylan's story is bullshit, and she was colluding to make up the story about the 911 call, and someone like Hippler said, not going to allow that to come into the court record, again, then how's that fair? Of course, Brian Kohberger is going to have to plead guilty. He's being fucked. He has he's given no options to prove that he didn't do it, because every single time they have an expert that comes on to say you weren't doing it, they say, nope, not allowed to talk about that. So you're left with no options. So that would be post-conviction relief opportunities all day long and every day and twice on Sunday.
Yep. And
yep.
And honestly,
go ahead, Dave.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Okay. Go ahead.
I just want to reiterate one more thing too. I feel the same. I feel like she did. I never answered that she did lure her here. It came from Kaylee's mother's mouth. If you just wanted to see if somebody wanted to join you, you can pick up a phone and call. You don't drive clear from where you're at to go to that person physically and say, I need you to be my number 2 or whatever the hell it's called, +1.
Right.
That's a lot to do something.
On a party they never even went to.
They didn't even go.
To that party.
A person you barely knew. They were only living together for what?
They weren't close.
60 days?
Yes. They weren't close at all. They were in different circles too, folks. So there's that. Yeah. But saying that, I do want to reiterate one more thing. I don't hate anybody. Anybody that knows me knows I have no hate for anybody. And I'm not here because I love Brian Kohberger. I love the truth. And I love justice for the victims of any case that I cover. That's why I'm here. So I don't hate nor love either way. So I'm just telling you, that's not a point for me. So moving forward.
What do you guys think about the fact that Brian Kohberger is listed on the plaintiff side of the WSU lawsuit? It's like now the Gonsalves family want Brian Kohberger to be on their side so they can get a bunch of money for it.
You missed that here the other night, didn't you?
We did. Oh yeah. Well, it's a great question. Don't get me. Don't feel ashamed for asking that.
No. I didn't mean that.
$1 million question. It's $1 million question. Like, why the fuck would Brian Kohberger be listed for the plaintiffs? Right? Why? Under what? So we had a long discussion about what kind of fuckery is that? And we ran through a bunch of scenarios, and this is where people were insulting me in the chat. Well, DA is playing checkers and these people are playing chess, and he's apparently not smart enough to figure out what this means. And I'm like, okay, fucking then explain it to me because I'm a dumbass. But we had a long discussion about all the scenarios in which why it makes sense that Brian Kohberger is listed as a plaintiff. And it's really hard to reason out why.
I think that it's Steve G's way of putting Brian on, like prosecuting Brian.
Getting what he didn't get. Yeah.
Right. He wanted to hear Brian say, you know, how he did it, why he did it. You know, he wanted more information.
And if he can't, in a sense, that might refresh Steve's mind and maybe allow him to process the fact that maybe he didn't do this. Maybe this is something else. If Brian can't give any answers to that.
That's the thing though. Like I'm still in my gut, I still believe Steve Gonsalves knows in his gut this was done by more than one person.
Yeah.
And he knows that. And he believed the trial was going to bring it out. Here's what I've said it before. I believe Steve Gonsalves was told, don't worry, when this goes to trial, we'll get the rest of them. There's others involved. We'll get the rest of them. And then they accepted a plea deal where he did it alone. And then he was robbed of that. Now, the only problem with my logic in saying that I think that's what Steve's mad about is that they robbed him of the other people is that the last thing Steve said on the court steps was they need to make Brian Kohberger say he did it by himself and nobody else, which goes against then I'm certain you know that other people were involved. So I don't know how to deal with they need to make him say he did it alone, which they did. They made him say he did it alone.
Yeah. That's all they did. But they never proved that. That's the problem. And when we talked about this the other night, wasn't there more of a psychological aspect we added to this at some point? I can't remember that conversation, but there was something a little more deep rooted that we had brought to the table about why they would have put him on the plaintiff's list, witness list.
Well, and I think it had to go with it. How do I explain this? It was really deep. It had to go with the idea. So it allows Brian Kohberger, if he testifies, it allows Brian Kohberger to say the things he never got to say before. So he could come on there and open up a can of worms and say, I didn't do it by myself. I had accomplices. And while that would fuck them in the WSU lawsuit, because they would lose the whole, you could have stopped Brian Kohberger, it does open them to sue Moscow, Bill Thompson, everyone in the prosecution that bumbled the investigation. And so maybe they're just going to switch who the target is and they're going to go after, because we know Steve Gonsalves has no love for Bill Thompson. He shit on Bill Thompson and said Bill Thompson's going to own this bullshit. He fucked this case up. He robbed everybody in this He's blamed Bill Thompson for robbing the families of true justice. So if he thinks ultimately Bill Thompson and the police department are the ones that are a real problem, maybe they're just going to shift the lawsuit to and Moscow Police Department, Idaho State University, and the prosecutor's office in Idaho. So,
and this is really important to note here. If Brian wasn't able to describe details, or he got details mixed up that weren't actually factual, I mean, that right there, in a nutshell, is proof of innocence.
I have to say it. I know I'm talking a lot, but I have to say it. They asked Bill Thompson, why not make Brian Kohberger give details about what happened? And Bill Thompson's answer was, we were afraid he would negate his own plea deal. Why would you negate your own plea deal? Because you would say something that wasn't true. They're afraid of him getting up there and making a statement that couldn't have been true. And then they're like, wait a minute, maybe you didn't do it if you didn't know that this was the case. And so they didn't want him to give details because he might fuck his own plea deal up. So they were like, we don't want to hear him explain it.
Exactly.
Right. And then he tried to give some dumb bullshit excuse about people couldn't understand it. You wouldn't understand it. You wouldn't believe it. Like, sit down. It was so ridiculous and so weak, which leads to the proof that he's not what he should be. So,
my question is, as far as the crime itself, we know we've been told that he carried 1 billion different weapons and a change of clothes and a garbage bag and a vacuum and a this and a that. What did he bring to break into the house with? Because there is no way that
crowbar,
is going to walk up to a house with all the lights on with nothing to, a normal person would think the door's locked.
Yeah.
So
you would.
And then he's not going to stand out there next to a door at a house where all the lights are on and everybody can see him trying to break in.
The only person that would go to that house without having a tool to break in is somebody that knows that the door is going to be unlocked.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Which would be fine if you proved that Brian Koberger was stalking the girls and knew the house well and all, but all of those things they said, there's no evidence whatsoever he had known anything about the house. So yeah, if he knew the house well and he knew their habits and he'd been stalking them for some time and sitting outside on a cinder block doing the slow stroke, watching them undress in the house and all those shit that they tried to say on various shows, if that was true, then maybe he would have known he didn't need to have a crowbar. But here's another thing I wanted to say. I was watching an attorney, a little bit of a clip of an attorney. I think it's Andrew Meyer on YouTube. He does a bunch of law stuff, and they were talking about this case as well. And they showed a document that listed items that they were looking into. You have a very strange look on your face, Dago. What's going on?
Just keep going. It's not even worth responding
Anyways,
to.
They had a list of things that they were looking into, and it listed things, evidence, including cigarette butts, which the attorney said, how's that have to do with anything? Brian Koberger doesn't smoke. They listed neoprene gloves. They listed a whole bunch of things. And then this attorney said, you know what's not on that list? A knife sheath. Like, they list these things related to the crime scene, and they didn't even list the knife sheath as related to the crime scene. And they listed other things like cigarette butts that has nothing to do with Koberger, leading them to believe there are multiple perpetrators. And where the fuck did the knife sheath go on the list? Like, there's all kinds of crazy shit. I don't know. You're deep in thought, man. So somebody's getting bigger in his chat, I can tell.
Anyway,
save him. Somebody save him, not me.
They went for the sure thing, the plea deal, without risking it and allowing Brian to hurt the families any further with what he says.
Yeah.
The sure thing. Right. It is the sure thing by taking a plea deal because they knew they had no case against the man. Therefore, they couldn't prosecute him the way that you should prosecute somebody that actually commits a crime. So yeah, that's a good, that part of that statement's true.
The problem with the sure thing, the problem with the sure thing is it's not a sure thing when and if he files post-conviction reliefs and it has this whole fucking plea deal vacated because it was a sham trial. So we'll see.
And when they prove that the prosecution was
lied,
completely lied, and they're prosecuted. Well, they tried to, because it's very hard to do that, folks. I understand. But when they go after the prosecution and people like Ashley Jennings proclaiming she didn't have stuff that she had and things like that, I'm just curious to see people's reactions to that.
Well, we can only, and again, when I say that we can only hope that that happens, it's not because of those a-holes out there who say that we just love Brian Koberger. We love murderers and we want a murderer to get away with it. No. You guys are all missing the major point. Again,
exactly.
The problem is that we, being feeling like we're fairly intelligent people, know that crime didn't happen the way that they said it did. And so we just want to have the truth get out. And again, I've said from the beginning, what bothers me the most is there's a real killer out there who may be walking the streets still because they accepted the simple answer. And there's a killer out there who's gotten away with it because there was somebody else. And I don't think it was probably even Brian Koberger that did the main killing. It probably was somebody else. And that person's still walking the streets. I'll be walking the streets tonight.
And,
all right.
Yeah. And that's what really thrusts my ass is the fact that people are okay with people getting away with crimes.
Yep.
That's the thing that really gets to me. I mean, okay, if Brian's innocent, no, I don't want the man sitting in jail. I don't want any innocent person sitting in jail. But let's actually prove really that a person is guilty and not have to lie in order to make your case, like lying, crying Bill Thompson and his little sidekick, little Trashly Jennings. I mean,
I want to ask you something else too. I want to see if you guys, so I'm going to ask you a question and then I want the panel to discuss it while I go get a refill on my drink. So here's the question. Am I making too much of this? During the plea deal, the victim impact statement, after all the victims read their shit and they're talking about all these things and they're insulting him and calling him an a-hole and whatever, Hippler asked Brian Koberger, if there's anything that he would like to say. And Brian's response was, I respectfully decline. Now, why would you respectfully decline? If you just murdered everybody's kids, what kind of respect do you think you're going to get from the families? Why would you respectfully decline? It almost sounded, and again, this is where I want your opinion when I go get a drink. Him saying, I respectfully decline almost sounds like it's like, I'm just going to shut the fuck up until the full facts come out. So I'm just going to respectfully keep my mouth shut, and I'm going to wait for the whole facts to come out. He's not admitting anything at all because, and again, why would you use the word, I mean, am I hanging too much on it? Why would he use the word respectfully if he just killed all their kids? Other than I feel like he's just simply like, I'm not going to comment on this until the full facts come out. But I don't know.
I think that was him trying to do what he could within the, I don't know what to call it, within what he could do and try and show some kindness by saying that word. And to me, that shows like I'm pleading guilty because I don't have a chance in hell in this courtroom. So I respectfully decline. Like I'm trying to show that I'm human and I have empathy. I don't know. That's
as his entire family did the whole time, even when they were being attacked by the other families. So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I
like
truly agree
that
with that.
was his only move really at that point to, not say anything that at a later date could come back and bite him in the butt. So he was being respectful to the court while in the court. I mean, he could have been like, no, I ain't saying nothing. I mean, he could have come off with some kind of smart aleck remark, but he didn't. So, I think that was probably strategic, but yeah, Logan, I do agree with you that he was trying to show in that moment that maybe he, did have some empathy. And so, yeah, I agree.
About, before I forget, I know Dago wants to say, but how about the fact that Kohberger stood up to address Hitler at the beginning and he says, sorry, young man, you don't need to stand up. I know you're trying to show respect. Like, why would Kohberger show respect for the court? Why would he show respect for the families by respectfully declining? Why would he do things showing respect to anyone if he just murdered everybody's kids and is proud about it as a gloating asshole?
You're exactly where I was going. I was just getting ready to say the same thing. That's an absolute fact, you guys. And sadly, the man that most of the world is looking at thinking committed this crime, accusing of committing this crime, the person that, in my opinion, was railroaded into committing this to look like he committed this crime was the only one that seemed to have any class in that courtroom that day. Okay. That was the sad part of the whole thing. It was disgusting. The display was ignorant. And don't get me wrong, because I'm definitely not victim shaming here. I understand that there is a mental breakdown, a psychological breakdown with all of this. Okay. It's a horrible, horrible thing that happened. But they took it to a level that there was applause allowed in the courtroom that day. They were making statements about things that had no bearing on him or the case, and it was all allowed. That was the biggest. It was disgusting to me the way they allowed who's supposed to be the judge allowed for all of that without even blinking. So.
Yeah, big D's in jail.
Yeah.
How ridiculous. It was just a show.
It was
very distasteful. And there was a moment, and I have to say, I'm probably why do I do this? Sometimes I say shit that I know I can't take back, and then I take a beating about it. But there was a moment where people were picking on Kohberger about whether or not he had a micro expression on his face during the plea where it showed a smile, right? Like, did he smile? Does he think this is fucking funny? And I have to say, there's a part of me that if I was on trial for something I know is full of shit and it's going to come out later, I would almost find this whole fucking thing a little funny. Like, fuck you guys. You guys are making this big fucking deal out of it, but it didn't happen that way. And at some point it's getting ridiculous. It would almost be laughable at some point. So
I agree.
Is there a possibility if he did have a micro smile, it's more like this whole thing is bullshit. Like it didn't happen. So it's funny in a way. It's tragic. The families are in pain, but and especially, you would especially laugh at Dylan Mortensen, who didn't want to look you in the eyes. If you know damn well why Dylan Mortensen not look at you, you would find that laughable. Like, you fucking faker. You're going to fucking sit here and not even look me in the eye when you know you're lying. And that would make me like, I laugh at you because you're fucking full of shit. Like, and again, people will take that, oh, he's so disrespectful. He's laughing at the families. Maybe he's not laughing at the families. Maybe he's laughing at fucking Dylan Mortensen's bullshit performance in the courtroom. Like, who knows?
Or the ridiculous other bullshit that was allowed and going on. But here's the thing. Think about something. Since we're talking about this part of this. The one person that didn't show up, okay, didn't show up for most anything, She stayed as far away as she could.
And
had somebody else read, because, and I'm telling you, this is my opinion only, okay? I believe that she was drawn into this out of fear. I believe that she was threatened, and that's why she took off. Okay, yes, Toothany. I love that you guys do that. That kills me. She took as far off as she could from this situation. I think she wanted to leave that morning, like I said before. She was trying to get the hell out of there because she didn't want anything to do with this, in my opinion, okay? But was forced into it. I think that maybe she was told something is going to happen, but never expected what actually was going to happened, okay? And at that point, that's the person that I wonder truly was afraid that if she showed up there and made any kind of a statement, that she might spit something out that she wasn't supposed to. And out of fear of possibly doing that, knowing what the truth was, this is the girl that had the exculpatory evidence, remember?
I 100% believe Bethany had exculpatory evidence, and that's why she fled the state. That's why she was terrified to come back. That's why she didn't communicate with anybody afterwards, because just like you said, she was going to be faced with one of two options: get on the stand and flat out lie about it and possibly perjure herself and go to jail if the defense knows she's lying and can prove it. Because that's the thing. She's got to double down on a lie in court and say it didn't happen this way or whatever, and lie. And if she and she doesn't know what they know, she may be surprised and find out they know something that she lied, and then she perjured herself and she goes to jail. So she'd be terrified. Or she comes and she has to tell the truth, and maybe telling the truth threatens her life, because maybe the killer who's still on the loose would be like, I'll fucking kill you if you tell people what really happened. So her choice was tell the truth and die, or tell a lie and perjure yourself and go to jail. So whatever you do is you don't want to fucking show up. You just don't want to show up. Just get a plea deal.
No, I wasn't talking about Dylan Sausage. I was talking about Bethany, hon. Yeah. So no, yeah, absolutely. No, that's exactly right, Lee. That's exactly where I'm at with it. I don't think she trusted herself, and she knew if she slipped up, man, some people just can't lie. Okay. That's a fact. Some people cannot do it. They can't. I've seen people, I know people that just can't tell a lie, period. It reads on their face. It reads in their body language, and they just can't do it. So it makes me wonder. Okay. And you even hear it on the 911 call. Dylan has to force her to go in the house on the call. If that's the way that really went. No. You come on. We have to go inside. She didn't want to go in that house.
Yeah. And she didn't want to go in the house because she knows what's in the house. She knows what's in the house.
She knows what happened. She knows who did it. She did. Sorry, Logan, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was going to say two things. Bethany might actually be the CI because she's the only person who was like allowed to leave the state. And then they went to her. They didn't make her come back to that could be, it could be because maybe she was the CI. But the other thing I was going to say is I expected Brian Koberger to at least maybe blush or turn red and get heated when things were said to him. But he didn't at all. And I'm wondering if that's because he's like, so at that point was so far removed from it in a sense, like, I didn't do this. They're just going to talk shit this whole time. I'm not going to let it bother me. Like he had to like do that. Cause I really was waiting for him to show something, some emotion, turn red, something. And there was nothing.
Well, with him being the way he is, okay. The autism side to this, right. People with autism are, I can't even think of the right word. You guys probably know this already.
They're less reactive.
Flat.
Right.
Flat,
well, that's one.
Yeah.
Right. But they're also more about like reality and the truth. They're very real. Okay.
Yes.
So here's the thing. And I said this before. If he knows that he didn't do this, why would he react to anything with it? I didn't do this. So that's not going to bother me because it wasn't me. You can call me whatever you want. I didn't do that. That's not me you're talking about. So in his mind, the person that they're yelling at, the person that they're calling names, all of this, he knows is not him. So therefore, it doesn't flip that switch in his mind. You know what I'm saying? Just like with when he got pulled over by the police officer, and I can't remember which one it was, and he asked him about his seatbelt, and he said, "Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. No, I didn't have it on," because he can't. Okay, that's just part of his personality. That's what I always wondered about and thought about with that, with what you were saying, is I fully agree. I have one in my house. Okay. If it doesn't pertain to him, he's not going to react to it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Honestly, you know what I mean? So I've lived that with my child. I've said things, and that's how I knew that my kid was lying, folks, which he's done. He's a kid, you know what I mean? But if he didn't, that's how I knew he was telling me the truth when he would tell me things, because it was so easy. It flowed. It was nothing. Now, when he is lying, there's a whole different story. You can just look at his face, and he doesn't even actually ever lie. It's the look he gives you, and he goes to deny something, and he can't. It's there. So I get it 100%.
And I'm not trying to make excuses all day long for Kohberger. I'm just asking for the counter. Like, so if he had autism spectrum disorder, as they said he did, for example, is it possible, for example, that someone with that condition doesn't care as much what people think about him, or what they, like he doesn't give a shit what your opinions are about him. So therefore, he would be okay with saying, hey, look, go ahead and accept the plea deal because we're running out of time. And if you don't take the plea deal, you're going to run out of time. But if you accept the plea deal, we still have post-conviction relief and we can get this overturned. And maybe there's a part of him that's like, yeah, I'll say I did it if you want me to. Like, I don't really give a shit if everybody thinks I'm a monster, because I don't give a fuck what they think anyway. So let them think I'm a monster because I didn't do it. And it's just a matter of fact thing. I'll prove it later during the post-conviction relief. So maybe because there's a lot of people who make this big deal. I would never plead guilty to something I wouldn't. You couldn't get me to plead guilty to something I didn't do. Well, maybe certain people will be like, I really don't give a fuck what you think about me. I know I didn't do it, and that's all that matters. But if you want me to say the words, I'll say the words because I don't give a fuck what you think about me. If you want to think I'm a monster, go ahead. I'll get proven right in the end, and then you'll eat shit. So I don't care. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's the point. And I feel like he detached from it because it wasn't him. Truly. Yeah. He just physically and mentally, emotionally, whatever, was detached from the situation because he didn't commit the crime. And there's no way to do that for somebody like him if he did, in my opinion.
But, I
agree.
To play devil's advocates at the end of the day, we always have to be fair. We have to say, maybe
who the hell is this devil's advocate person? Sick of this guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he pled guilty because he did it, right? Maybe he pled guilty because he did it. And maybe he said he did it alone because he did. I don't think it's possible for one person to do it alone, but we always have to accept the possibility that he pled guilty because he did it.
Sure.
But,
yeah.
Anything is possible, sir.
Yeah.
Except for that.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
It might be possible, but it's not probable.
I wouldn't put my money on it. I wouldn't put my
I don't believe you.
I don't believe you either.
Wow, that's good.
That's a whole bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Shit. All right. So we talked a lot about Idaho 4. I want to talk just briefly before I lose, because again, I need to wrap up in about 20, 30 minutes so I can get something.
Is any of that hearing or trial going to be televised, Lee?
Which one? The one
you're going to?
No, it's not going to be televised, which is the reason why I'm going in person instead of instead of just watching it on TV. So
I thought we could get you on TV again.
Well, maybe outside if there's a court presence, but it seems like nobody really, it doesn't have the national attention that it should have at this point.
Well, they know about the main case. I don't think they know about the other stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't know how they don't. Like, how do you miss Mickey Steins is actually on the witness list. He's going to be there to testify, at least on Zoom, if not in person, at that trial. Like he's at this one. It's related, but anyways,
I'll call the news stations like I did with John Ray.
I'm sure you will. By the way, as a real quick aside, that courthouse in London, Kentucky, I was trying to find the rules about whether or not I'm allowed to bring a phone in or a laptop and take notes, or whether I have to take handwritten notes. And so I went to the website for the Kentucky courthouse, and it had a 1-star out of 5-star rating for the courthouse. And every comment was, oh my God, that is the most horrific bathroom I have ever fucking been to in my life. No one changes the toilet paper. No one cleans the bathroom. That's the most nasty but on the positive side, all of those comments were for like 5 years ago. So hopefully in 5 years they've actually cleaned the toilets.
I hope.
That would be horrendous. But
Jesus.
yeah, I don't even know what I'm walking into in that courthouse.
Well, you said the courthouse is like the size of a garage, didn't you? So
it's a pretty small courthouse. Yeah, it's a federal courthouse. And here's the thing. Here's what scares the shit out of me. This scares the shit out of me. I don't know if the media is going to pick up on it, so I don't know who's going to show up. I heard it's a tiny courtroom and it's first come, first serve. I also know that Sabrina has got friends and family who are going to try to show up and be there. And then you have to ask yourself, am I the asshole who's going to make a friend or family not get into the courtroom that day because I need to cover it for my YouTube channel? And so a friend or family can't get in because it's first come, first serve. And I'm standing in line at midnight to get in at 8 o'clock in the morning. Like at what point, but I didn't fly across the country not to get in the fucking courtroom. So anyways, it's a tough one, but that's what I'm planning on doing. I went through the entire Ben Fields deposition. I'm going to be reading Sabrina Atkins' deposition. Some new crazy shit, by the way, came out when we were reading the Ben Fields deposition. And I know a lot of people don't know the case, but not only was Ben Fields, who was a deputy sheriff uniform and all this with that, did he get convicted of rape and sodomy of a woman in the judge's basically back chambers of the bathroom area. But it turned out, I read in his deposition, I was shocked to find this out. His wife, Angie Fields, Ben Fields' wife, Angie, she worked in the courthouse before she married him, and she was under his supervision, and he had sex with her in the bathroom as well when he was over her in a superior position. So he had sex with who became his wife in the bathroom in a superior position. This is a habit of this guy, using his authority to coerce women into sex, one of which he ended up marrying, but then others not so much. But I was like, holy shit, this has been going on with this guy for quite a long time. So anyways, crazy story.
Well, just make sure you take plenty of cleaning products with you.
I'm going to clean the bathroom. I'm going to ask for some money.
Take sanitizer at least. Anything, is there anything else new that's come out with anything else that over the past 24 hours?
Any news on Guthrie or any news on any other cases that's broken and changed in the last 24 hours you guys can think of?
Wasn't there something new that dropped, Logan, with I know you follow it. I don't think Robin, are you following Nancy Guthrie at all?
I did not hear anything today, but again, we didn't hear anything today that was new.
I didn't get to follow too much on it.
We do, but we just didn't hear anything.
I was just gonna say I did get I love this too. There's a possibility, it's not written in stone, but there is a possibility of the Guthrie family, Savannah, Annie, Tomas, Carmen, all of them, or not Carmen, Jesus, I just read chat. Cameron, sorry. It was talked about that there could be a suit filed against old Skeletor herself, Ashley Banfield, for putting out a false statement, and I loved it. Though, because the word was those two were friends at one time, and now, karma's real, folks, and it's coming back around. That's all I'm saying. I hope it happens, because she made a direct statement saying she got a statement from a very, very, very reliable source. Obviously not. That Tomas was a very high on the suspect list for this case. So. And
it turned out not to be true in their counting, and they're suing. Yeah.
That's probably where Savannah's going to get her $500,000 to donate the money.
Probably. Probably. Thank you, sausage biscuits.
Do I drink bourbon? Yeah, I do. I do. I'm mostly a whiskey guy, but I think I've liked bourbon.
That's what I used to drink was bourbon. I loved it.
Yeah. I had a friend that was really big into bourbon, and I think I still have an unopened bottle of nice bourbon that he gifted us. I'm pretty sure I haven't cracked it open though.
When I quit drinking, I was a heavy Crown Royal drinker. That was my thing, and
Yeah.
Anything else like that, I liked it. You know, I was in that mode too.
I've had Crown Royal. It's good. Yeah. Odd question. Why the hell are we asking questions about it? Do I drink that much on camera that that people ask me my alcohol flavor?
Not that I can tell.
I mean, every once in a while.
Oh, she wants to give you a basket, a gift basket. Jesus.
Oh, that would be sweet. That would be sweet. Yeah,
cool.
I would love bourbon. Yeah, and then I would toast it on a Friday night.
If you want bourbon, go to Kentucky. That's a fact.
Yeah. Yeah, Captain Morgan's. Also, I love Captain Morgan's as well. So yes, I'm familiar with those drinks as well. I'm not such a drinker that I know like the nuances between a bourbon and a whiskey and a and all that. Well, I know what vodkas are, but like the point being is like I'm not really a big wine snob, or not wine snob, alcohol snob. So I don't know them all, but yeah, I've had my share.
Thank you, Bianca, for the $5. She says, I adore this community and the whole panel and channels. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Bianca.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
My favorite drink is a chocolate monkey.
What the hell is that?
What's in it?
This bartender where we used to go do karaoke, she made it was chocolate ice cream, Kahlua, Bailey's, chocolate Bailey's, and rum.
Yeah.
That's one of those kind of that bites you when you don't expect it. So.
That sounds thick.
That didn't turn in your stomach?
Yeah.
Oh.
My favorite mixed
drinking and dessert all in one. I mean, come on.
I would say my favorite mixed drinks have been a Long Island iced tea. I like that. I like, and the one I order all the time, but I stopped ordering it when I would go to any kind of bar kind of thing because they always look at me like, what the fuck are you asking for? I was told it was called a Smith and Kearns. It was like Kahlua, Coke, and cream. And yeah, every bar I go to when I ask for a Smith and Kearns, like, what the hell are you talking about? What's a Smith and Kearns? I'm like, I don't know. I thought that was what the name, everybody calls it a Smith and Kearns, but nobody apparently at bars know what the hell a fucking Smith and Kearns is. So Kahlua, Coke, and cream is what it was supposed to be. But yeah. You're muted, Dago. You're muted.
Huh.
I didn't know that was called that, but I've heard of that before.
Yeah.
My mother used to drink the white and black Russians. She was a big Kahlua fan.
Oh, and what's that? The slippery nipple or the camel? It's like butterscotch schnapps and several really sweet ones.
Yeah, that's the one. The slippery nipple and then the fuzzy navels and Oh, mine was a brain eraser.
Oh,
that's what that was. That was. Oh God, you're gonna ask me that. It was I can't remember. It was a shot.
See, it's a brain eraser. It erased your brain. You don't. Remember.
And they would put some kind of a there was some of that.
A good drink.
Yeah, it works. It does. I can't remember the alcohol. Like there was I think it was 2 whiskeys. Okay, and then they would put some kind of. Maybe it wasn't whiskey. Anyway, it was very strong, and then they would pour something in it that would coagulate that looked like a brain.
Right. Okay.
And they tasted okay. It was pretty good, because of that other flavored stuff. But it was strong. It was strong. And the 3 Wise Men, I used to take those all the time, which was and it was gross. Don't get me, but it would hit you fast. It was Jack, Jim, and Jose, the 3 Wise Men mixed together in one.
How did we just turn this into a drinking show?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Moving on.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I thought so. Let's talk for a minute, real quick, again about Idaho 4 and Pavarotti, because again, with Pavarotti, and by the way, I have to say, with Pavarotti's video, it started out with him with his spreadsheet he's been keeping for forever. Yeah. So he's got the ICU Farley gun rack guy, and I'm like, again, to this day, I'm not convinced of the ICU Farley and the gun rack thing, but he's still got it on his spreadsheet as here's the gun rack sound, here's the gun rack guy going towards the house, here's Farley hanging out as the lookout. And maybe he will be right at the end of the day. I don't know. But whatever the case may be, I will say one more time about Pavarotti, 2 things. 1, I love what Pavarotti does. I love the thought that he puts into it and the detail. And if there's any complaint I have about Pavarotti, it's Pavarotti's super fans. His super fans treat other users like shit and constantly tell other users that they don't know a fucking thing about any case because the only person who knows the case is Pavarotti, and he solved it 27 times already since he started it. I get tired of his fans. That's what bothers me. Pavarotti, I got no issues with Pavarotti, but I do have some problems with Pavarotti's people who constantly shit on every creator who's not Pavarotti. I don't know how he feels about his super fans. I don't know if he likes it or not, but that's my only problem. I think Pav's great. I could do without the people who tell everybody that they're a piece of shit if they're not Pavarotti. But anyways.
He's allowed to change his story 13 million times, which is fine. We all have gathered new information and changed what we, but it's like his people hate on anybody else who does it. Like, we're all human. He's human too.
Right. Yeah. And we're all investigating this together. And like you said, Logan, there's new stuff coming out almost every day, or somebody discovering a document that's been buried and they bring it to light, or so of course this story is going to keep evolving. And frankly, no creator out there has this thing 100% down, because we can't. There's still too many variables.
Yeah, by the way, drinking when came back, somebody said buttery. I think buttery nipple is what I was talking about. It's butterscotch schnapps. What? Tell me what it was. It's anyways.
That's it. Nipple. Butterscotch schnapps. Rum.
It's got three different sweet ones. It might have Bailey's in it. I think it might have it. I think it has Bailey's, butterscotch schnapp, and something else.
Triple sec.
Maybe triple sec. Yeah, I don't know.
That might be it.
And it's also, somebody else called it a camel toe or something like that, but it's like, it's got two different names that is essentially the same drink. By the way, and the difference between the two different drinks is the same three ingredients, but they're layered differently. Like what order you layer them changes the name of the drink.
Yeah. And she was awake. My wife was a bartender when we first met. So yeah. I think you're right. There was 3 different versions.
A duck fart. That's what Rhonda says. Duck fart. That was another name. That was another name for it, called the duck.
Holy shit! A duck farted.
Somebody step on a duck.
A moose knuckle. Oh my god.
Old MacDonald had a farm.
There's some awesome drinks. There's drinks that I want just because of the name of the drink.
Yes.
I won't go into them. So. But, anyways.
What was? Somebody said something that I was gonna give an answer to, but I can't find it now. Hold on. Papa said, "Yes, I know, Twiz. I saw it. It's we were talking about it before. It's crazy.
In the house.
What's up, JJ?
Good to see JJ stepping in to say hi. Well, I don't really have anything new to. By the way, as an aside, I'm going to kind of preload this. I want to talk to Dago and Logan and my team about this as well. But one of the things that I'm starting to realize, and I don't know if it's the time of year with February being a little slower for YouTube, is that I feel like there's signs that I'm moving away from something that I used to do well, which was long form videos. And because I've moved so much to the Crimes After Dark situation, I'm not spending as much time on my long form videos. And I feel like I need to get some long form videos back in my repertoire, because I think some people are like, I didn't sign up to watch Devil's Advocates to watch him go on a panel every single night, and that's all he does. So I got to get back to some of those long form videos. So we're going to kind of work on a team on how to kind of get some space back in my schedule, some time in my schedule to start doing some long form videos again, because I think that's something that a lot of people, when they first signed up for me, they were like, I like when you break down these long thoughts, and now all you do is this variety show on, which is great. I mean, I love this variety show. I love what we're doing here, but anyways, for what it's worth, I got to try to find that balance and try to get some long form videos in there too. So what do you guys think?
How many times a week do you do your other stuff besides this?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I used to try to do every case of four or five cases, one every single day, and have a drop. But the problem was is that then I ran into the problem of Idaho 4 would be hot and heavy, and everybody wants to talk about the new thing that came out when it's now Mickey Stein's day or it's now Luigi Mangione day. And I couldn't be the only guy not talking about the latest news in Idaho 4 because it's Luigi day. So I had that problem. So I'm constantly trying to figure out what is my thing, because if everyone wants to talk about Idaho 4 every single day and I've got other cases, how the fuck do I cover my other cases?
You're gonna implode yourself doing that. Here's the problem with that is that these other cases, there's nothing like flowing on these cases regularly. That's the problem, because I used to do that too. Back a couple years ago when I was covering 3 to 4 cases every day, I was constantly doing it, constantly. But they were all hot at the same time. They were all pushing the same amount of info out every day. When they stopped doing that, it's hard to do that. That's so I had to.
You can't just make stuff up, right?
Right, and people get tired of hearing the same circle of conversation about the same damn thing. So you know, so I had to start reaching out and covering other cases and putting other ones on the back burner and coming back to them at a later date when things would be released. I went 6 months, probably 8 months, without talking about anything in Idaho other than a hearing or something that would happen, because there was nothing falling out from it. So in turn, I had to fill that spot with another case. That's what I was doing. So, and they were shorter cases, most of them. They were quicker cases. They were bing, bang, boom, which is very rare. But yeah, that's the only way I found a way to like make something like that work. But I know exactly what you're saying.
And the problem I have, and I don't know the solution, I don't even know why I'm talking about it on the show, but the problem I have is when I started this, I did not want to be an Idaho 4 YouTuber. I want to be a true crime YouTuber, and I want to focus on high profile cases to teach people about the legal system and the problems in the legal system and the systemic problems in our system as a whole. But yet I can't get away from only talking about Idaho 4 because nobody seems to want to give a shit about any other thing than Idaho 4. And I'm like, I don't want to be an Idaho 4 only guy, but if that's all anybody wants to talk about, what do you do?
Well,
so, I don't know.
That's a huge problem at a point, because I'm the same way. I'm not an Idaho channel. I'm a true crime channel. So the reason why it's been so bad like that, in my opinion, is because all this shit just came out all at one time on Idaho over the past year. Well, about 8-9 months, I'll say. So we haven't had a choice but to cover this stuff, because every time we finish one thing, there's another thing that falls in our lap.
300 documents.
That's the problem. And you know, it's going to slow down, like I said, but here's the problem. We're in the slow part right now, in my opinion. I'm telling you guys, I have a bad feeling that we're going to be so busy with this shit coming in the next month or two, maybe max.
That
we're not going to have a choice, because it's going to do the same thing again. That's how I think it's going to fall.
If Koberger files post-conviction relief, it's going to be fucking game on, and it's going to be, everybody's going to be going back from let's go back to day one, because if we're starting over with a new trial, let's go back to fucking day one. So we're going to be all over this shit over again.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. That's exactly how I think it's
we've been talking about it for 3 years, so we know it probably better than anybody. Unless you're Pavarotti, then he knows everything and has already solved it.
And don't forget, we have the Delphi situation that's gonna start rolling again.
Dude, that's the problem. These other cases are not fucking small cases. Richard Allen's fucking appeal is enormous.
Right.
Ben Fields and Mickey Stein's killing that judge is an enormous thing. These are not small. Holy shit, Luigi Mangione and that fucking thing is enormous. What?
I want you to read this comment right here.
Make them want to know other things. You're good at educating.
Yes,
point. That is
you
a good
are.
Point.
Yeah,
you are good at educating them, and when you educate them, you have an entertaining style, and you are able to make people hear you when you say listen.
Listen.
So, that's right.
The same thing I did. I brought other cases to the table, and people were like, "I only follow this case," and I said, "Okay, well, I'm going to show you this one anyway," and I show it to them.
Right.
And they sat through the whole thing. Then they started asking questions. So, I mean, you just have to kind of throw it at them and say, here it is. Look, it's crazy. What do you think?
And it's funny because I've kind of gotten away from that. One of the biggest compliments, I used to get this every once in a while. People would, it's exactly what you just said. I would have people say, I came into this only interested in Idaho 4, and I didn't give a shit about Luigi Mangione, but now all of a sudden I'm following Luigi Mangione because you got me interested. So
here's another one.
I didn't know anything about Sabrina Atkins until recently. Downloaded the doc and watched you. That's funny. So Third Apache, by the way, has been in my member-only lives as I'm reading through the deposition, and she's like all of a sudden ahead of me on things. I'm like, how the fuck are you ahead of me? I didn't even know you were into that case, but apparently I got her interested in the case, or him, or I don't know if it was her or him.
Yes, if you introduce it and you present it the right way, Lee, they grab it. That's just facts because they're true crime people. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just what it is, and that's what we do. It just takes. Sometimes you have to. And I don't mean this disrespectful because I love all you guys. You guys know that. Sometimes you got to force feed it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, right.
And show the points of the case that are so outlandish that people go, holy shit. Okay, now what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I don't want to ever give up our Crimes After Dark show, because I feel like this is a way for us to kind of introduce some of those other cases. And then if they want to hear the longer thing, that's the only thing I want to change really is adding those deep dives that I haven't been doing as much, because I've been so focused on, like, I fooled myself into for a while to thinking that the fireside chat was my replacement for long form videos. And it's just not. It can't, I've got to really do some deep dives into those cases. So I think we still talk about them on this show where we do the roundtable and we all talk about what cases are interesting to us, but I need to get a little bit back more into doing some of those deeper dives. So anyways, for what it's worth, thank you. You guys have given me some encouragement, because you guys are reminding me that sometimes you just have to say, what the fuck, Joel? What the fuck?
You just have to do it live.
You just have to do it live.
There you go.
I like doing that. I call it doing a live dive, where I'll pull a new case out or something and we'll start looking at it and we dive all the way into it. It's not just a scratch the surface thing, because it's that interesting. So
yeah.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I said I needed to go about a half hour early. This is about the time then where I think we need to start doing wrap-ups. I know it feels probably super early for everybody, but let's go around the horn if you don't mind. Unless you guys want to go without me. Like if Robin and you guys want to run the show without me for another half hour, you can. But otherwise, we'll just wrap up here and call it early.
I'm good. I'll stay or go. Whatever you want to do. I'm good for either way.
How you guys feeling? You guys want to keep going without me, or you want to stay wrap it up? Wrap it up. Nobody wants to make the commitment.
Whatever you guys want to do.
I'm
right.
here.
I'm gonna make a judgment call. We're shutting it down. I'm letting you guys off early.
Okay.
We're gonna go home early. All right. So let's go around the horn. Robin, Dago, Logan, and then myself will close out, and we'll call it good. So Robin, what do you got for closing thoughts for the night?
Well, I have to say, I am so proud, and I know I'm not alone in this, of 1-1. And if you are watching and listening, sir, we just are so thrilled for you and for your family, and the NYPD better appreciate you, just so much, because we are so proud that you are part of this family. And we know that you are going to go on and do better things, but you ain't getting away from us. So don't even try it, buddy.
I know.
Part of me, yeah.
Part of me was worried. Part of me was worried, like, oh man, we're gonna lose him. Like he's gonna have new duties, and he doesn't know what his rotation's gonna be, and he might be on some kind of thing where he can't. But then I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. If we have to. But here, I know him. He wants to be part of this so bad that he will stay with us and he will make it work somehow. But again, if he can't, he can't. Like the reality is that's a life-changing thing for him. And so whatever happens, we'll have to work around it. We may have to change things. We may have to change things to keep him on the show. So we'll see how that works. But congratulations, 1-1, on your promotion. Again, we're all proud of you. Again, for those who don't know, one of the most touching things ever was when 1-1 presented me with a challenge coin. It's a sign of respect from law enforcement to give somebody a coin that's got their precinct on it. He also gave me a special card that's like an honorary I'm a friend of a police officer card that, it's kind of like a get out of jail card thing, or a free card. You're like, hey, I know a cop really well at NYPD. Anyways, he gave me those signs of respect that you are a friend of law enforcement, and it means so much. I didn't even know what it meant until I went back and I had to Google it. I had to be like, this cop gave me this super badass coin, and they're like, that's a huge honor. And I'm like, fuck, why didn't I say? Like, I didn't know what it was. So I apologize for that, but also thank you so much for considering me a part of that community, and it means a lot. I got to shoot firearms with NYPD officers at a private range. That was super cool. Like everything about that relationship has been super badass and a blessing. All right, Dago, did you want to say some close?
Sure. Thank you guys again for joining us. As always, amazing. Just it's amazing. All of it. And I want to reiterate what Robin said. 1-1, we love you. I've only known you for a period of time, and I instantly just felt that thing with you again. Just same I did with Lee. You're part of the family, part of the. Very proud to say that you're a friend and part of this. That I'm part of this with you. Congratulations, sir, Captain. Very proud of you. And again, I hope that doesn't take them away from this. But thank you to all of the moderators in here. You're all amazing, every one of you from each channel. Thank you to all of you. Again, we couldn't, nor shouldn't ever try to do this without you because you guys are so amazing. And again, thank you to Logan, Robin, and Lee for having me tonight, along with my community. Our community, I should say. I keep doing that and I don't want to. Our community, because we've all become one large community. I'm very proud of that. And love to all of you guys. Don't forget to love yourselves, love each other, and don't change nothing because, again, you guys are the beautiful people. And have a wonderful night, folks.
Thank you so much. And yeah, it's cool, like that whole captain, my captain thing. It's cool having a captain on the show. That's so badass. All right, Logan, what do you have for closing thoughts for the night?
Once again, congrats to 1-1. We are so proud of you. Can't wait to hear about your new position and how it's going. Do something nice for yourself today. Be kind, but more importantly, be kind to your animals. But before I go, I do want to say thank you to all of our mods, to our entire community. Thank you, everybody, for always showing up for us. You guys are just so irreplaceable. I hope everybody has a great evening, and we will see you live tomorrow on Bronx Tales.
Awesome. All right. And as for me, I'm going to go visit some friends that we haven't seen for a while before I am leaving on the jet plane. I got to go over to London, Kentucky. I'm super excited about that. So I'm excited about my trip, although it includes a lot of days before the trial and after the trial that I don't have to fucking be there. So in a way, I'm hoping I can find one of those like last minute red eye flights back so I don't have to spend, but I will be on our show. And by the way, I am dedicating myself to making at least 1 or 2 long form videos to get in that routine of doing long form videos, even if I have to do it from an Airbnb. I'm going to make it work somehow. For everybody else, thank you for coming. We'll see you again tomorrow night for probably my last Crimes After Dark before I catch my flight, and then I will be off on Sunday, and I think I should be back on Monday's Crime After Dark. So tomorrow night, then I'm off Saturday, Sunday, back on Monday. In the meantime, thank you all, and thank you for my panel for giving me a little pick-me-up. And I told you that I have some kind of like, man, just something's going wrong with the channel, and you're like, you guys gave me a lot of words of advice and encouragement, and stick with things and do what you do best and teach people to get interested in the cases, and I appreciate all of that. Until next time, everyone, have a great evening and take it easy.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.